Okay, so if you are struggling, first of all, before I even go that route, but what I want to say is that I don't want you to struggle running your childcare business. Okay, that is the thing that I don't want for anyone running a childcare business. When I ran my center, I struggled. And the struggle for me was just trying to keep up with everything. There is a lot of moving parts and pieces that are happening all day long, every day. And when you're struggling to keep up, it really makes the job hard. Now, I am going to be the first one to say that this is a hard business to run. Okay. And what makes it very difficult is that you've got regulations that you have to be in compliance with. We have to make sure that children are developing. You have to also make sure that your parents are satisfied. You've got to make sure that your staff are satisfied. Like, I always kind of look at it like, and I always would tell people that would come and work for me, or if during interviews, like, if you're coming here, like, this is not a hamburger joint, right? Like, this is not like a clothing store, okay? Where really all we got to worry about is just that. Like, we are dealing with people's children. And with that comes a lot to keep up with. So if you're struggling with that, I actually have an amazing checklist, okay, that you're going to want to grab. Now, the link is down in the description, but you got to grab this checklist because this is going to help you be able to really take a moment and to assess the 5 areas that I'm going to tell you. These are 5 automations that you need to have in place, okay, that I'm going to highly recommend for you to have in place. And these are going to transform your child care center in the way of basically putting time margin, giving you more time margin. So this video is really, really, really going to be to you guys that are currently in operations, whether you're operating out of your home or you're operating a center or several child care locations. This is really going to be for you. Now, if you're just starting, because I know I have a lot of you guys that are just starting on this channel, if you're just starting, you actually want to have these in place before you even open your door so that you don't have to deal with the things that some of us have dealt with, like myself, and that is the struggling to keep up. Okay. So I'm just going to actually use this checklist as my notes. And before we hop in, if you have not subscribed to the channel, be sure that you do that. Okay. Turn your notifications on. Again, well, I didn't even introduce myself, but if you are new to me, my name is Ashley Benz. I am the owner and the CEO and founder of ECE Business Partners, and I've been doing this for 10 years. So if you're new to me, if you're just stumbling up on my channel, um, if you're just stumbling up on my channel, I just want to welcome you here. Be sure again that you do subscribe. And again, I've been doing this for 10 years. Okay. Actually, yes. So I've been in the industry for 20 years, which is crazy. I actually owned, operated, ran, and directed my own childcare business for 10 years. And I have been consulting others for the last 10 years. And it's a lot going on. Okay, but let's hop into these. Okay, so the first thing, I'm going to give you these 5. Now, if I would have known these 5, and the way that I really want you to be thinking is, if you've watched me, you know where I'm getting ready to go with this. But I really want you to think about your child care center like departments, because no matter what, I would say no matter what business that you have, you still have departments just like Walmart or any, other big major company would have departments. You still have those same departments. So if you really can kind of look at those in the sense of, okay, and breaking them up into compartments and then going into each one of them and thinking about, okay, what is it that I have or don't have? This is going to help you. Now, let me also explain to you guys that one of the things that contributes to the struggle to keep up is these repetitive tasks that you're having to do that you're having to do. Okay. And so normally it is either that you're doing these repetitive tasks, B, you don't have any systems in place to be able to handle these repetitive tasks, right? Or you're not delegating. And so delegation can come in so many different forms. But the main key thing here is that if you're struggling to keep up, it's because there is a lack of automation in your childcare business. Okay, so let's go over these 5 really quick. Okay. So the very first department that you have is going to be your finance department. Okay, this is your accounting and budgeting. And then the second department that you're going to think of is I want you to think about your marketing and advertising. Okay. Number 3 is going to be your customer service and program quality. Number 4 is going to be your staff, your management. So, like staffing. So, I call it management and leadership. Number 5 is going to be your office organization and procedures. And I always wiggle in at number 6, which is work-life balance. So, again, these are the 5. Basically, these are the frameworks. So, whenever I'm working with someone, it's a framework that I have. And we go through each one of these and we say, okay, what is the bottleneck in this specific department? What's your bottleneck in your accounting or your finance department? What is keeping you, what's keeping you and that's contributing to you struggling to keep up in the accounting? What is contributing to your struggling to keep up in your marketing and your advertising efforts? Because whatever that it is, there's something in each one of these departments, okay, that could be causing you to have the struggle, okay, be on the struggle bus with all these. Okay, so these are the 5 and actually the 6. Now, let's move to the first one, which is your accounting and budgeting. So the first thing that you do want to have with accounting and budgeting is you need to have financial oversight, okay? So you need to have an organized and clear way to be able to really just look at the data of your finances. Okay. Basically, the name of the game here is that it is like a game. Okay. And either you're winning or losing at the game of finances with your childcare business. Either you're profiting or you're not. Okay. Either we are in the red or we're not. So you've got to be able to know what that looks like. And you need to be able to have access to that, to just like something that you can just go to immediately and be able to see what the picture is. I always kind of look at the finance. It's like the weather. Okay. And so if you don't know what the weather is going to be, you don't know what tool that you need to bring out. You don't know whether you need an umbrella today. Is it sun shining? Are we good? Whatever the case is there. So finances are the same way. And so if you don't have a way to look at what's happening, look at the data, right? You're going to have a hard time figuring out what you need to do and how to be able to pivot if there is an issue financially. So what you need to have is, okay, so I'm just going to look off my notes here. So organized and clear finances are crucial to success as a business owner and operator. By reducing the manual work that's involved, and I think that's where a lot of people come in, is this manual work that's involved, like collecting your tuition, charging late fees, you guys. That is something that you should not have to be manually having to do. Managing subsidies and paying your expenses. You're going to be able to spend less time resolving issues and more time on impactful decisions, because these things are going to happen. People are going to be late. You're going to have to deal with subsidies. You've got, tuition fees, things like that. Those are part of the business that you should not be having to manually do. So, you need something like a dashboard that you can come to. You need some automations in place that's going to allow you to be able to just really honestly do that back end work for you. So then you're focusing on, instead of focusing on somebody, paid late, or, we've got to get the documentations in for subsidy. We got to do all those things. Instead of you focusing on that, you're looking at the numbers. You're saying, oh, wow, let's add on this service, or let's add on an extra stream of income so that we can, increase our revenue efforts, right? Instead of like being the bottleneck in some of these other things. So I would recommend for you to set up an automated financial dashboard with real-time revenue and expense tracking. Like you need, and it needs to be real time, meaning that no matter what, when you pull it up, it's going to be there. Okay. Set up automated alerts for upcoming payments, overdue invoices, and new charges that's coming in. So alerts is really important with the financial, because there's a lot of movement. I literally could probably just do like an entire, video on just this alone. Um, but collect tuition payments online. You should be doing that. Create dashboards to track payments, delinquencies, and expenses. And what I love about a dashboard when it comes to the financial side of it is that you can, with the right dashboard, you can kind of tailor that or customize that dashboard to show you specific what you're looking for, so that we're not getting sidetracked with things, but we're looking for something specific. So maybe it is saying that, hey, we need X amount of enrollments this month. Where are we with that? Right. And just being able to kind of go to that and look at that and be able to customize the dashboard to what you're specifically looking for at that time. And then another thing that your financial system should do is be able to automate auto pay. So like just have this stuff on auto pay, you guys. And most things nowadays are on auto pay. So if you don't have something that allows you to put auto pay on for your family so that it just takes the stress off of everybody, then you definitely want to have that set up. Okay, let's move to the second department, which is going to be your marketing and advertising. And so this is something that should be running in the background of your day. It should be running 365 days a year. The way that I look at automated marketing is that when you have it set up right, it is literally like having an army of people going out every day for you. And these army of people are just not going to anyone, but they know exactly who to go to and who to target. And, they're doing that for you. So that's happening while you sleep. That's all the things. I'm going to give you guys a really quick story that I love when I was able to see my automation, my marketing, automated marketing system working in the background. So there was this mom who was expecting, and I will never forget this, but I woke up one morning and I had this amazing email to me that was saying that she was expecting. She had really looked at my website. Has been doing her research, and she wanted to come in that day and book a tour with me. And then long story short, she actually enrolled her unborn child in my childcare business, okay, or in my center. And when I looked at the time that the email was sent, it was like 2 a.m. in the morning. Okay. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. You want your marketing efforts to be automated in the sense that there is somebody while you're asleep, you're getting enrollments coming in. Okay. So here's what you need to have. And automating your efforts allows you to generate those leads. And that is the most important thing that you're going to have in this business when it comes to this part. Let me just say this. If you don't have leads, you don't have a business. If you don't have families, contacting you and, on your website and things like that, you will not have a business at some point. Okay. So we got to make sure, I'm going to shut my little headline off. We got to make sure that those leads are coming in and that these efforts that you're doing, that they're automated. So, okay. So what we want to do is you do want to have a CRM to track lead details and interactions, which will greatly reduce the manual work in your marketing efforts. Now, somebody says, well, what's a CRM? And every time I ask this question, nobody knows what it is. So if you are sitting here and you're like, oh, I know exactly what she's talking about, then listen, you are way ahead of the game. If you don't know what a CRM system is, let me explain to you this way. Have you ever called somewhere, okay, customer support, something like that, and they'll ask you, they'll say, oh, thank you for calling. Can I get your name so I can look up your account? Okay, and then you'll hear this in the background. Okay, and then they'll be asking you these questions, and it's like, oh, wow, like they may say something like, oh, okay, I see here that when you called us back on X, Y, and Z, and you called about this, and they're actually able to know a little bit about you. That is a CRM system, and what it is that you are a lead, or if you're a customer of the company, you have an account in their system that has notes about you, that has anything about any transactions that you've done with the company and things like that. And so that is what the CRM system is, and that is what you need. Another story. So I gave, I had a CRM system set up, right? So I had a mom that called. She was inquiring about my services. And I was like, well, would you like to come in and do a tour? And she was like, well, I would, but my daughter is actually going to be having ear surgery. And I just wanted to kind of get a little bit information. But when she's done with that and we kind of get over that, I would love to come in and take a tour and, X, Y, and Z. So, I put down her information and I put the notes in my CRM system about the ear surgery that her daughter was going to have. Because listen, guys, when you're answering these phones or you're getting these calls, you have a lot of different stories and just things that people are telling you. So I wanted to make sure I made a note of that. So when she calls back, maybe it might have been a couple of months later. And I told her, I was like, oh, yeah, I remember you. I was like, how did your daughter's surgery go? And she was just floored to even know. She was like, I can't even, she's like, you don't know how much it means to me that you even remembered talking to me and that you remember that. And so, absolutely, I remember because I wrote it down, but also it helped me, it jogged my memory that who I was talking to. So that is Ethereum really just brings in a very personable touch to your, just your overall marketing efforts and when you're talking to people, and it just really makes it personable. So these are some things that you want to kind of have in place. You want to have something that's going to automate contact information collection from prospective families through an online form. You want to automatically track engagement from prospective families with your program through calls, emails, messages, and more. So again, if somebody calls, we want to be able to track that engagement. You want to be able to look at something and be able to actually look at a timeline to say, hey, from the time this person came in as a new lead in our system, they went here, they went there, they called here, they sent an email. So you want to be able to kind of have a timeline of their interactions. You want to be able to set up automated messages to respond to inquiries and application submissions. So like when someone does come through your online forms or things like that, you really want to make sure that you do have these like communications going out. And what this does, it keeps you top of mind. Okay. And when we stay top of mind, that is how we turn a lead into getting someone to come in and actually tour, because that's what we're doing right now. Okay. When we're talking about these marketing efforts. Also, you guys, this is one that I am not seeing, but you guys you want to have and be able to accept tour bookings online. Nobody should now have to be calling you up and trying to find the time. I should be able to come directly to your website and I want to book a tour, and I should be able to do that directly on your website. Okay. That is one that I'm not seeing a lot of owners have in place. Okay. And that's an important one. That's going to reduce that friction, because a lot of times when you have friction, when somebody has to go through a lot of steps, it's almost they're already ready to book the tour, but they have to call. And then, if they don't get a message right away, they have to wait. And then, then somebody calls them back and then they have to look at their account. And it's about, so if you can reduce that friction that's in between that, and they can just go directly to your website and book when it's available, when it's convenient for them, I'm telling you, that is going to help get some of those people to come on in. Okay. There's an old saying that, get them while they're hot, right? While they're ready, go ahead and get them in. And so accepting those tour bookings online is going to help with that. The other thing is that you want to automatically pass family data into your software system upon conversion from prospective family to customer. I feel like I talked about this in one of my other videos about how to increase your enrollment. So I will make sure to link that down below so that you guys can go back and watch that if you haven't. But that is so important as well, because once they actually come through, and we have them in as a lead, that's a certain kind of conversation that we need to be having. Then when they book a tour, then we need to have a different kind of conversation, and so on and so forth. And I mentioned that in my, I think it was 5 tools to boost your enrollment. So that is one that you definitely want to go back and look at. Okay. I do not want to make this video super long, so I'm going to try to get through some of these. All right, staff. Let's move to our third one, which is going to be, it's going to be your staff leadership and management. And so the one thing with staff operations is that if you can find a way to automate as much as possible, this is really going to put time back into your day, and it's going to get you off the struggle bus. Okay. So This is like onboarding, scheduling, payroll, compliance, paperwork, like hour sheets, PTO tracking, benefits, and much more. And so we want to be able to automate these back end things so that then you can focus on making sure that your staff have an amazing experience, because that's really what it's about. If you can give them a good experience and be able to cultivate this amazing working environment, then this is how we retain our staff. But if you're dealing with a lot of back end stuff and you can't really spend time with your staff or create these spaces or create the or facilitate opportunities for you guys to get together, or just whatever it is, but your goal here is, especially for your good staff, you want to retain them. And so let's just say that, what if you were able to not have to focus on some of these back end things, like I said, the people trying to take off or scheduling or things like that? What could you do if you didn't have to focus on that? What could you do for your staff to be able to invest into them? Okay, and just come up with these great things, to show that you appreciate them, right? You could do a lot more, and this is one big thing that really helps to create and build a team and then retain your staff in. So you want to be able to digitize your staff onboarding process to collect all the paperwork, payment details, and personal information online. Okay, so that should be very streamlined. And you just want to be able to do that, especially that onboarding piece too. Okay, because I just remember that when there was a point where I just had a really big staff turnover, and I felt like all I did was read over my staff handbooks, and I was, all the things. I was going over this over and over again with these new teachers that came in. And once I was able to automate that, that really took a lot off of my plate, and I was able to focus on higher, top more level things. You want to be able to have staff set up payroll accounts and link banking accounts and filing their tax documents and all that kind of stuff during that onboarding process. And that should be online. Okay. None of this paper things, and then you're having to scan in documents, or I don't know, but we don't need that. Okay. We need all online. Track staff check-in and clocking and them checking out, using software to streamline the payroll. And so that you want something that's going to be able to connect to that, right? So like when they clock in, when they clock out, you can kind of go in and maybe approve that very quickly. Payroll is ran, done, and people are getting paid. Okay. And they're getting paid through, direct deposit. Okay. Not paper checks. We do not want to be writing out paper checks right now. Okay. So, the other thing also that you want to make sure of is to set up renewal dates for paperwork and licensing requirements to automate compliance processes. So we know this is where we get into, do you have that set up? Do you have it where there is some sort of a alert that says, hey, so-and-so needs their clock hour trainings, or whatever the case is there. And then also manage scheduling online to streamline PTO, absences, and substitute scheduling. So all that should be honestly just in one location where you can do that. Okay. And again, if you do not have this here, be sure that you do click that link in the description, as this is a resource that you can grab and be able to kind of really just take it and do a checklist. Okay. And then at the end, I'm going to give you more resources for you to dive into if you want to kind of really start setting some things up and kind of getting some things in place. All right, let's move to number 5, which is customer service and program quality. And what I really want to focus on in this one is going to be, number 4. What I really want to focus on is family communication. So one of the main things, and the reason why families may leave, is due to lack of communication. It is due to the fact that they were not told about their child having a hard time during nap time, because the teacher that was there during nap time left. And then, the other person that came in didn't communicate that to the parent. And so mom now is upset because, little Sally comes home, and little Sally's talking about her day, and little Sally is very upset about nap time, and mom didn't hear about this. mom is upset and she's going to know, why did not someone tell me that my little Sally had these issues at nap time, right? So communication is so important with retaining your families and keeping your family satisfied and really making sure and ensuring that they trust you throughout their day. Um, so, one of the things right now that is so huge is that being able to share those photos with your families throughout the day, sharing what they ate, sharing, maybe a cool thing that happened or some kind of thing, maybe something that you guys have been working on. And, maybe it's, I don't know, like I'm just gonna say potty training, right? And so maybe, hey, we have went all day or we went all the way up to nap time. I mean, all the way up to lunchtime with no accidents. And you be able to tell that to mom. That is going to keep these families feeling like, wow, like I have nothing to be worried about, right? And just getting that picture, during the day while they're at work is so comforting. And it allows them to then focus on what they're doing, right? Which is typically working to support their family, and not have to worry about what's going on at the center. So we want to be able to allow families to complete enrollment online. So you guys know that's something that you should already have. If you don't have it, that is something that you should have in place. We want to be able to set up online tuition payments for families, set up weekly newsletters, templates to share with your families. And these are really big. I know a lot of you guys are doing these things, but having those templates, having the streamlined way of really honestly setting up something one time and not having to think about what needs to go in the newsletter is really important. Now, I'm going to tell you what we did. Excuse me. I'm going to tell you what we did. So I actually had where we had a newsletter template. And instead of, because I used to write all my newsletters and it became to the point where I was like, okay, I don't really know like specifically what they did in the preschool classroom this week, or, like I didn't know the specifics or details. So I had my teachers submit, they every week, I want to say it was on Thursdays or something like that. But let's just say, I'm just going to say on Thursdays, they would have to submit, we would call it their newsletter submission. And so they would submit their newsletter submission. The newsletter submission literally is just, share something, a highlight from your classroom from this week. And then I would put that in the newsletter. So all I would really have to do is just copy and paste it in the template. And then I would also write my section as well. So like we would have like a director's corner, or, from Mrs. Ashley's desk. And then we would have, preschool. And then I would also look at whatever the teachers presented in their newsletter submission. And then that would allow me to be able to kind of, really wrap up the week. So what I'm saying is that you want to have something streamlined. Again, you do not need to be the bottleneck in this. Okay. If you are running a center and you've got staff and teachers, get them involved in this and be able to have something where it's online, and just a centralized location where they can submit that newsletter information or whatever the case is there. It's going to make your job easier. And so that way, you can have that newsletter ready by Fridays. And, I always recommend sending them out on Sundays because I feel like that's when people have a little bit more time to kind of like sit down. And that's also when people are getting ready for the new week. So, maybe sending that letter and actually not having it scheduled. Okay. Because I remember I worked with a client one time and we were talking about this exact thing. And she was like, well, on Sundays, I will write my newsletter. I'm like, why are you doing any work for the center on a Sunday? And so I told her, I was like, listen, you need to have this ready by Thursday. Friday, we're polishing it up and just have it scheduled to go out on Sunday. And then you can use that time with your own family. So these are the things that I'm kind of, these little repetitive tasks that have to get done weekly, this administrative work. Let's find a way to automate that. And what I just gave you is a form of automating. Okay. It's having the process in place and it's having the system to be able to schedule the newsletter to go out. And it's also having a system for your teachers to be able to collaborate and, provide their section of the newsletter. So there you go, right there. Wasn't planning on giving you that, but that is one that I highly recommend. Okay. We want to be able to create chats for classrooms, allowing parents and staff to communicate. So I love having a chat feature so that either I can send out something to the entire center, or I can send it out directly to one family, or I can send out to a classroom, or I can send out to a group. Maybe there is a volunteer group that you have that, there's some parents that's going to volunteer for the upcoming fall festival. And I can have a chat directly for that. So I can send that to them. So just having those ways to really just, stay connected, and then also customizing how you connect and when you send out and who you send out to. Set up engagement tracking for your program to ensure staff are sending photos and sharing updates. So that's another thing too, because let me just say this, a lot of owners, y'all do have some of this in place, but are you tracking and are you ensuring that your teachers are actually using and sending this information out, right? So having that tracking system is just going to help you have that overview of what is happening. And if that's not happening, we're going to bring that up in the staff meeting. We're going to say, hey, here's the report, guys, and it looks like that our engagement has been really low with sending out photos or what the children are eating. And you can show your team their report, right? The data so that they can see that. And then that's going to help motivate them and say that next, at our next staff meeting, guys, let's see this up. Okay. We have to make sure we're doing a better job in communicating with our families. That's really important. So having something like that is really, 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 again, it's going to help you to, to keep up with everything. Okay. All right. Let's move to number 5, which is one of my favorite ones, and that is office organization and procedures. I really want to talk about admin processes, and admin processes is really what allows your childcare program to operate smoothly. Honestly, I just feel like it is the backbone of your business. All your processes and what you do, that honestly, in a nutshell, if you don't get anything else out of this video, but in a nutshell, if you do not have the proper admin processes in place, you will struggle to keep up. Okay. So, so just tuition and paperwork need to be collected and reviewed. Enrollments need to be managed, and then meal programs must be planned. So there's a lot of things going on there. Many of these back office tasks can be automated to reduce manual work from your team and admin. So just imagine having, let's just talk about your meal planning. Just imagine having something that could allow you to just spit out a meal plan for the entire month in seconds. Okay. That is the type of automation, guys, that you need to have. You should not have to be manually sitting down and thinking about meals for the month of October or November. You could really, if really honestly, with the way that we can automate things with AI, you should be having your meals planned. You could literally have it planned out for the entire year and have that done in seconds, right? And I think the most thing that I know, even for myself, is that the more that we can take out the thinking of having to do all these things that are important, but not necessarily so important for you to be doing in the sense of repetitive things, the more that we can reduce repetitive tasks, the more that it's going to help you be able to keep up. Okay. And put that time, give you more time margin. Okay. In your day. So you can focus on growing your center and working on your business and not so much in your business. Okay. Being that bottleneck. So just some things to kind of think about here. Digitize admin operations, including the enrollment, tuition management, and program scheduling. We kind of talked about that. Create custom admin roles for each staff member in your online software to facilitate controls. I love this. You want to have something that's going to allow you to create these different admin controls so that this is the way you delegate. Okay. This is the way that you delegate and that you get it to where you're not doing all this by yourself. Okay. And listen, your staff and teachers can handle this during nap time. I know they got to take a lunch break and we want to make sure they have that break. But a lot of times these things can be done during nap time. Okay. Or if you are, a director, and just having those admin roles, you can give admin roles to even some staff members, right? And it depends on what your structure is. So I just know for me, I had my center went through a lot of different stages. So I just kind of remember, there was a time when I didn't have an assistant director. And so I would hand off things to my teachers. But the way that I did it, there was no automation back then. So it was more, we did a lot of things through email and things like that. But yes, that is a really great way to delegate. Okay. I feel like I went over most of these, collecting like paperwork online and setting up admin automation such as classroom transitions, program close dates, and more. So the admin side of it, you guys, I feel like it's what does kind of get everybody down. And if, again, automate, okay? Find ways to automate. Now, when you're able to have something set up like this is going to then lead you into having a better work-life balance, okay? And the main thing that I really want you to focus on, I want you to grab this checklist, okay? And what I want you to do is I want you to go through, the little points on this checklist here, and I want you to kind of audit yourself. And I want you to think about what I would actually do is on each one of these, because when you get this, you'll see the little bullets and stuff like that. I would write down, okay, if I were to able to, let's say, get rid of this or streamline this, right? How much time would that put back into my day? I want you to go through and I want you to really, really kind of line that out. And you're going to be able to see, you add up all these times, you're going to be able to automatically see really quick how much time that you're wasting when you don't have automation in place in your center. Okay. And what I want you to do also is, what would that time, like, let's just say, because I know a lot of y'all working a lot of hours. I know I work like 50 plus hours a week. Let's just say if you went through some automations and you actually set some things up, right? And what if you had, I'm just going to say, what if you had an extra 15 hours a week? Okay, put back into your time. What would you do with that time? What would that look like? Would you get off earlier? Would you get home a little earlier so you can go cook dinner for your family? Would you, I don't know, be able to make it to your kids, soccer practice or, swimming lessons and not have to be rushed? Like, what would you do with an extra 15 hours a week? I know I was talking to one owner and she was like, Ashley, like right now, all I want to do is be able to be in the pickup line to pick up my own kids. She's like, right now, I can't do that. And she said, like, that is all that I really want to do. And so sometimes sometimes it's something as simple as that. Like, you just want to be in the pickup line to go pick up your own children. And be there for them and be able to see how their day is going. Or, maybe on Saturdays or the weekends, you don't have to be grocery shopping and things like that. Like, there's so many things that you can do to better streamline so that you can really keep up with things and feel like, honestly, be able to shut the day off when the day needs to be shut off, right? And what that means is that when you leave and clock out, so to speak, you're done for the day. Because everything else, there's so much automation in the background that it's removed you from those day-to-day operations, and you're able to really, really be present, okay, and in the moment when you get home from running your center. So, okay, here's what you're going to do. Now, I am going to recommend you guys, I'm going to highly recommend for you guys to try this resource, okay? I want you to look at this resource because everything that I mentioned today, this resource here that I am going to show you right now is going to allow you to do all of those things. And what I love about this specific resource here, so let me go ahead and share that with you guys. Make sure that we're on the same everything. Yes. Okay. So if you have not heard of Playground, okay, you really need to check them out. So here is this is what I always say about Playground, is that I have seen a lot of different softwares. I've actually used different softwares. What I love about Playground is that they are innovative and they are always great about adding automation in place. So honestly, I would honestly not recommend any other platform other than Playground. Okay. Um, and so that is why, I have collaborated with them to help other owners and to help owners because, again, I am looking for things that's going to be really good for the automation side of things. And this is it. And, like I said, I get, you know, I get companies throw things at me all the time. But the people here at Playground are amazing. I just, like I said, every time, because we have meetings and things like that with them, and they'll show me new things that they're doing or just what's going on in the back end. And every time I'm like, I am literally blown away. One of the last meetings that we had with them, that I have with them, and I'll make sure to leave the link in the bottom. But they are actually so it should be quite ready right now. I don't even know if I'm supposed to say anything, but the CRM system, they are getting that ready. And then the other thing that blew my mind was the AI. So like even like the meal, like when I was talking about the meal thing, you can literally plug in, you know, well, actually, lesson planning is what I'm thinking of. And when they showed me that, I was like, that is so amazing. But you can actually plug in, it will do lesson planning for you, everything. So this hands down is going to be something that I'm going to really recommend. So when you do go there, you're going to use my link so that they know, that I sent you their way, and just schedule a demo. Okay. Schedule a demo. I'm telling you, this is, again, like seriously, this I would highly recommend for you guys to check out Playground as a resource to be able to do all these things. The other thing I love too is that with Playground, a lot of times, we have a lot of tabs that go up. And so this, honestly, you can literally have, like, look at all this stuff right here. I mean, like if we just look right now, I mean, you have your students, you have your classrooms, you have your programs, staff, billing, reports. I mean, all that. You can literally just open up one tab and get rid of all these other tabs going on your laptop or computer, and just be able to just be centralized in one dashboard all day long. But gonna recommend for you guys to highly, actually, I highly recommend for you guys to go ahead and check them out if you are trying to streamline, if you're trying to streamline your, automations, and if you're struggling to keep up. I'm going to tell you right now, if you're struggling to keep up, you definitely want to check them out. And book a demo with them. It's absolutely free. I don't want to go on and on because I'm just a big fan. Not because I'm partnered with them, but because they just have, like, they blow me away every single time I do demos myself, and they update me on what they have going on. So, all right, that is a resource. That's going to be the main resource I'm going to have you to grab. Also, if you're starting out, I'm going to highly recommend for you to grab my 29-page planner as well. Also, you guys, the checklist, which will be down there as well. Goodness, just look in the description box, because anything that I'm going to recommend is going to be down there. I feel like that also too would be really, really helpful for you guys is my bundle kits. So I have one that is really great. I think that's which is the budgeting and the audit, the marketing one. But I'm going to put those down below as well. So there's going to be a mix of free resources and also resources that you can dive into that are paid, but you can still dive into those. So I'm going to kind of put you guys. Let's just call a little basket of goodies down there. Okay, we'll just put that a little basket of goodies down there. And yeah, so I hope this video, I feel like this is super long. I did not mean to this be super long, but anyway, I hope this video was very helpful to you guys. I'm going to leave all those descriptions down below, and I will see you off in the next one. Be sure that if you have not as well, be sure that you do subscribe and turn on your notifications so that you are ready for the next video. And I think in the next video, I'm going to talk about the top childcare business. I've been saying that, but that's the one I think is coming up next. So thank you again for being here, you guys, and I will see you in the next one.